Another nail biter. Too close for comfort game against a lesser team 2 weeks in a row. Steelers, we squeak by. Detroit Lions. Good news, we put loads of points on today. And we're 5-3. That's the key thing. 5-3. 3 more manageable games with, a realistic possibility being 8-3 or 7-4, going to those last 6 critical games. That's all the good news. Good news is Tua had an excellent day, 400 yards total, 382 through the air, 3 touchdowns, no picks. And I don't remember any near picks. Sometimes he makes those boneheaded passes. 19 on the ground, some big runs, 400-yard day. Clearly, this guy is a good player. I mean, we got to stop the talk. He's not a good player. Maybe, we got to talk about great. We'll see what happens when he gets in the big games. This guy's clearly a good player. Hill, 460-yard games. The rest of the league, 5. Waddle, 2 touchdowns. Gesicki, big day. Mostert looked really good, We've got a lot of components. This defensive line by the Dolphins. Sealer, 2 batted passes, sack. This guy's good. Defensive line really came through for us, especially in the second half. So there's a lot of good stuff. Team has possibilities to have all doors open for it in the 2022 season. For me, the floor is second in the division, playoffs. That's there and more, possibly. But clearly, there is some concerns about the foundations of this team. And I don't think anything is written in stone any which way. Nice part is it's trending, at least in the concrete aspects, for a good 22 season, but there's those concerns lurking. I'm going to get into all that stuff. Good, the bad, the ugly, the positives, the negatives, and the whole thing. But first, I want to give you a shout out for stopping by. I really appreciate the likes and subscribes, especially the comments. I want to give a quick shout out to Ace Bread, my sponsor, because without you, without them, this show ain't going down. Ace Bread's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. We're a tired fan base. We want our team to win. We want them to go to playoffs and be respectable. That's there. That's the good news. I have my concerns about the secondary. I have my concerns about wasted picks. I have my concerns about the offensive line to kind of derail the long-term vision of this team. But none of that really matters as much as what we saw today, which was an absolute lack of discipline. Now, I don't think anybody should concrete and fill in McDaniel's coaching style, say he can't have a disciplined team because of what we've seen. But there should be clear concerns. There were whispers in the offseason. He was too player-friendly. He's a young guy who's never done it before. He's taking on 2 positions of being OC and HC. There's going to be discipline problems. But we opened up with 3 very airtight games. There was not one coaching problem among them, and we beat the Bills. But since that time, there's been injury instability. There's been tight games. There's been losses. And it's all kind of been wrapped around lack of discipline, whether it's interceptions or fumbles and clearly penalties. And this game was a penalty frenzy. 10 penalties in the first half, a lot of them not accepted. Stat was we have 23 penalties more than anybody else in the league. And that is an absolute concern, and that could derail everything. Clearly, this team has strengths, as I just mentioned. Clearly, McDaniel can coach offense, call plays. We see that. I mean, this offense can be magical at times. It's ridiculous. And defensively, Boyer, he can come in. He could do stuff. You see that. I mean, it's not as dominating as we want, but we're able to win. Now, these are lesser teams that we're beating. This week, Deshaun Elliott already ripped apart secondary that was running nickel all day. You heard that announcer say that. Coaches do that now since I've been saying that since the Titans game. And that's kind of a problem why we should have ran them out. But Elliott wasn't in. He's that big safety coming in. And he was out. So we are going against a gutted team that really only has a very good offensive line, some receiver talent, good running back, and some spot talent on the defense. We should have blown them out. We didn't. But we were able to pull out the win, and that's what really counts. It's a young staff, young team. But this discipline problem has to stop. It will kill everything. It will kill all the possibilities. McDaniel might be a great guy. He might be a great offensive coordinator. But if he can't have a disciplined team, he is not going anywhere. In the NFL, you see, we are way more talented than the Lions, and we played them to the bitter end, and it shouldn't be. It was the fumble early. It was the poor coaching to allow a punt return, a punt turned into a fake punt for a first down. It was about all the penalties along the way. You can't beat yourself. You've got to let the team beat themselves or you beat them. This is going to derail everything, but we've got to give it a little bit longer for the evaluation. Clearly, this is high warning signs. But like I said, we've got to let it play out. If we have as bad a game next week as far as penalties and discipline as this week, then I'm going to hit the red light. But even if we're just slightly undisciplined, I'm going to give it a little more time. I want to see that last stretch how we play. We've got to go on the road against San Fran. We got to go on the road against the Chargers, against the Patriots, against the Bills. We got Jets and Green Bay at home. We won't win those games or enough of those games if we play this undisciplined. We could be an imbalanced team, which we are. We can't run. The offensive line's not that good. And the secondary's got so many holes in it, and there's problems there. But this passing attack is so potent, and there's enough talent up front on the D-line that we can win against teams. Not any team. I don't think we could beat the Bills on the road with this kind of team. But that's not what this season's about. This season's about second in division, making the playoffs, and hopefully looking good in our playoff game or two. And then next year, refining what we have, adding more picks, adding more talent, and then making the big move. But there's a lot of things to talk about, but if the discipline's not there, it doesn't matter what we do. And some coaches can't bring discipline. I don't think that's where McDaniel is just yet, but it's the most critical aspect. This was a good win in the sense that we got the win. Not how it looked. Some ways it was with the points and the passing and a little bit of the run game and shining some defensive players, but this was a bad team, and we should have blown them out. Chicago, they got a better defense, but we should beat them too. Browns a little shaky. Texans, we should definitely beat them. So 6 games left. Teams I just mentioned. You could be 7-4 or 8-3. And with the way these AFC teams are sinking that was supposed to be good, the Dolphins have their window of opportunity open. The potential is there. There's no reason for this team not to make the postseason. There's no reason for this team not to be second in the division. If we don't, it's unmitigated disaster. But guys, it's there. I know. There's some people, we're going to Super Bowl. Okay, I don't know how you could say that. But I think there's some people out there are just like, I don't think we could do it because look at this, and this. It's there. I think even with the offensive line issues and all the other issues I mentioned, sad to see Eichenberg go down. I think he should have been on the bench, but I feel bad for the poor kid. That's going to be a horrible rehab if it is as bad as they're saying. I'm hoping it's just a bad sprain. My prayers go out to the kid. But we got clear offensive line issues. And the secondary can get Jones back, and I can fix things. There's some issues here, technical, But this team has everything available. They're 5-3 with all this talent, with 3 easy games, with all these AFC teams that were supposed to be juggernauts. Chargers, they're sank down to the earth. Denver, there's a lot of teams. Colts. There's a lot of potential for us to make that second seed and the playoffs. And that might not be as much as some people want. But if we can get there and fix this discipline, there is potential. I don't know how much, but it's still there. So let's have a holding pattern here and watch this discipline. Watch what we do on this offensive line. I can get into a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm going to in the next couple podcasts, but I really just wanted to lay this out. Because I get a sense that some Fin fans are just hanging their heads down. And it could end up being that way. But you're 5-3 with a lot of bad teams that were supposed to be good in the AFC. A lot of winnable games. We could easily get to 10, 11, or even 12 wins at this stage. But it's going to come down to discipline. And McDaniel is now the number one thing on any Fin fan's radar. It's very correctable. Let's see how it plays out. A lot of good things to talk about in this game. I'm going to get to the footage. I'll have more for you tomorrow to get into the nitpicking and this and that. But to me, the most critical things right now is this discipline and the potential to really go where we want to go. It's at the forefront. So I hope you had a good game. It was a nail biter. It was up and down. There's definitely things to be nervous about, but we're 5-3. And let's see what happens. It's shaking out a lot different than a lot of us thought with how great the AFC was going to be and all these great teams. It's going to be a dogfight over these last couple of games. And it's going to be interesting as heck. If we could keep our discipline, man, I think we could play with just, not everyone, but just about everyone and put ourselves into position to have a postseason. Curtis saying thanks for staying to the end. Finn's got it, 5-3. Let's check out these next 3 games. Big evals. Go Fins, guys. Catch you next time. Start building your own online sportsbook today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.